Welcome to the Gruber Morning Show. This is the EV edition. I'm Pete Gruber.
I'm Mark Schaffner. Good morning and welcome.
And we thought we would try something different today. We're usually somewhat scripted. We do a lot of research. We have articles. We read from them. Today we thought we would try a different direction and get your inputs to see what you think about it. We're going to do what's called spitballing. And it was a term that I actually had to verify and look up. It's the creation of content without careful research. So expressing opinions, in other words.
Yeah, okay.
And then Jesse said, well, why don't we try a different word, freestyling? So we looked at that as well, and eventually spitballing won over. How come? Because you guys changed your mind, or freestyling, spitballing?
Well, I mean, you're giving this away. We were A/B testing that on a different platform. Our main thumbnail doesn't say that, but
okay.
Yeah, we're experimenting, so it's kind of a new thing.
It is a new thing. Before we get into new things, though, again, feel free to ask questions. Let us know where you're coming in from. Instagram is back on a small cell phone because of a computer problem or a bandwidth problem.
I think it's because of the experiment that we're trying today. We're going to be a lot more of a interactive between us and the audience. And so, unfortunately, Instagram isn't going to see the green screen today, but we're still working out our technical issues.
And looks like we've already got somebody from Instagram. GeoFix is with us. He's saying, hey. Before we start, though, I wanted to show you guys something, and this is a long time coming. It's quite a trophy. In the world of social media, you have these milestones that you reach, and one of them with YouTube is your subscriber count. And, your relevance in life in general is based on, in YouTube anyway, on how many subscribers you have.
Yes.
Right?
That's right.
And, of course, when you have subscribers, you end up getting monetization, and YouTube actually funds part of this activity. And for those of you curious, by the way, none of what we do here is anywhere near getting return on investment yet. All right. There's
unfortunately, but yes,
bunch of equipment in the studio here. There's always a new camera that we have to buy. We need to upgrade the computer now so that Instagram will see the green screen again. There's always some costs involved, but we're plugging away and we're continuing to invest in social media, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all the rest of the platforms. Well, we reached a milestone. My son Max and I, 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago or so.
About 3, I think, is what it was.
2020, so now technically 4, yeah.
Yeah,
4.
So 3.5.
He tried to convince me, you've got to get on YouTube. We've got all these companies operating here, and we've got people dialing for dollars. We've got call centers and looking for customers. And he said, there's another way to find customers that you can augment by going on YouTube and providing good, meaningful content. So we started to do that 4 years ago. We had 300 subscribers when Jesse came in, our digital manager. Jesse, you want to tell us about those days?
Yeah, I mean, you guys have been doing it for a little over 6 months when I came in, and you had a little over 300 subscribers, and the only platform was YouTube at that time. We hadn't created TikTok or Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, any of those other ones yet. So when I came in, I started helping with some of the scripting and some of the shoots. We'd go out in the shop and get some stuff, and then finally got some traction going, and then we added more members to the team as we grew, and now we've crossed over the 100,000 on YouTube, and we have 150 on TikTok, something like that. We have hundreds of thousands across all 8 different platforms now.
We continue to plug away, and we continue to invest, and we continue to create content and find ways to provide relevant information to our viewers. Well, the milestone that we reached is that when you get to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, they send you something, and it came in the mail.
Pete, just so you know, too, we're at 131,000 now, and I was hoping we'd hit it for today, but we didn't yet. We're at 9.9 million views on the channel, so we're almost at 10 million views.
Wow.
The channel was created on March 23rd of 2020.
There we go. All right. So they say, do you remember your first subscriber, your 100th, or your thousandth subscriber? Tough to say. Chances are you do, and we know that you'll definitely remember your 100,000th subscriber. And what they sent us was, when you get to 100,000, is a plaque. And this is like the holy grail of YouTube, or at least the first phase of it. And we want to share that with our audience because it's really you guys that made all this possible. This is the YouTube button, I guess.
The silver play button.
Yeah.
Silver play button. Look how pretty that is. And it's a little heavy. Of course, it's going to hang in a prominent place. And it says, presented to Gruber Motor Company for passing 100,000 subscribers, YouTube.
Okay, you got to look at the screen and try and hold it to where it's not reflecting so they can see the words. There you go.
Okay.
There we go. Man, that's impressive. This is the first I've ever seen of it myself, because I kind of on purpose here.
That you hold it? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty significant there. I am so thankful to be able to even be a part of this. It was not really intentional. It started off with a conversation with Jesse on a Friday afternoon. He and I and my IT manager, Nick, meet on a weekly basis. And I like to read news and keep up on things and have some opinions, and was willing to share them. And he said, well, you need to come in and substitute for Zane because he's going to be out for several weeks.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
And,
yes.
it just kind of has taken off from there.
And the rest is history.
Now we're on episode 140 today.
Okay. Okay. So anyway, that is a trophy that really has all of us tickled. Yesterday we did a video at Gruber Motor Company. All the staff gathered around and we presented this YouTube play button.
And one of the things that I do like, Pete, is that it's not very often that somebody comes to Gruber Motors and doesn't say, we heard about you, or we watched your videos, or something to come back to social media. That tells me that even though it's been hard to quantify the return on investment, direct to sales, the indirect, the marketing piece of it, it's definitely working.
Yes. And you're right. It's extremely rare that someone doesn't say, I saw your videos, or I watch all your videos, or your podcasts, all that.
So we do get a lot of inquiries, and a lot of people come to us, partly because of what we're able to do here. And I'm very honored for that.
So what is the next goal, you may ask? Well, in the YouTube world, there is a gold play button. Mm-hmm. We're not sure yet whether this is gold-plated or 24-karat solid gold. We're hoping the latter, of course, but you have to get to 1 million subscribers. So we need your help. We need you to continue to subscribe, tell your friends about us, and if you like our content, continue to like and subscribe.
Absolutely.
Looks like we have a bunch of people chiming in.
Yes, the John Sick says, love the content here. It's John from Wyoming. Thanks for joining us, John.
Yeah.
You're on YouTube. And then on Instagram, mmustock50 says hello.
And Highlander from YouTube, one of our regulars, a huge and well-deserved congratulations, the Highlander. Thank you.
And kindness is always free, Highlander.
Uh-huh.
Instagram, mmustock50 again says, congratulations, Gruber Motor Company.
So before we get into some of the topics that we were going to spitball this morning for EV-related stuff, I want to make sure everybody understands this is going to run for an hour until 11 o'clock, and then we switch over to the Tesla Roadster podcast. Same channel, just a different login for you.
Right.
And it's about 5 minutes after 11 o'clock or so.
Well, so we'll end 5 minutes before 11, and then the Roadster will go live at 11.
Okay, good. Thanks for clarifying. We have some exciting news about a Roadster development that you're not going to want to miss today. This is one of the, in my mind, one of the biggest changes that I've seen in some time, for the Roadsters anyway.
I think so. This is going to be some of the biggest news for Roadsters, I think, since we had the discovery of the 3 Chinese Roadsters last summer.
Mm-hmm. Highlander says, would be absolutely happy to help with more viewers, the Highlander. Well, we appreciate that, anything that you can do. And of course, our job is to continue to bring good quality content, knowledgeable perspectives. And, I come from the technical world. Mark comes from the financial world. And he can remember those percentages like nobody I've ever seen, and the numbers that float around in his head. So between the two of us, there's a good mix here. All right. So one of the first items is the Tesla strike in Sweden. What do we think about that?
I think it's an existential threat to the Swedes. I'm trying to kind of keep up on that. This is one of those slow-moving stories that is actually incredibly important, because the Swedish way of life has to do with collaboration between unions, business, and labor. They don't have a minimum wage. Many of the business legislation pieces of legislation that we have here in the United States don't exist in Sweden or in many of the Nordic countries, because the unions and business work fairly closely together in a collaboration.
Who would have thought that that's possible, right?
I know. Unions have a seat on the board, and they make decisions together. There are things like no minimum wage and a lot less restrictive in business environment in that sense. But the flip side is the business can be kind of constrained too.
Yeah. Well, I'm hearing teamwork, which of course is an unusual ingredient when it comes to unions and labor and companies.
Yeah, this story has taken on a life of its own, it seems like. I learned this morning that there are 130 or so mechanics that belong to that are members themselves of a union, but they're not being allowed to organize and collectively bargain with Tesla.
Now, these are Tesla employees, you're saying?
They are Tesla
mechanics.
employees.
Okay.
They do belong themselves to the union individually, but they do not. But since the union is not part of Tesla, they're not in Tesla. Well, it's only a small subset of these mechanics that are actually striking.
Interesting. Okay.
So there's it's not 130 mechanics that are striking. That's what we've been reporting for weeks. Mm-hmm. We don't know how many for sure, but it may be as little as a few dozen. Mm-hmm. And yet, when they felt like they weren't making an impact with their striking, none of the service centers are shut down. Everybody's able to continue to get their cars and get their service and stuff like that. They asked other unions to join in, mm-hmm. and that's when things got kind of wild with. The Postal Service won't deliver the mail or license plates. The dock workers in Denmark won't unload Teslas off the dock, so on and so forth. That's when things have really gotten interesting. Sweden is now, or the Swedish unions are now framing this as an existential threat to their existence. Tesla is framing this as an existential threat to unionization worldwide. Right. And people across the world are beginning to say, this might be a thing for unions across the world.
Yeah, this might rewrite the whole plan.
It really might. So, I watch it with the fascination of a slow-moving train wreck.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hey, Mark, we're getting a little bit of feedback. Your block right behind your computer, I think, is touching out your mic cord. Can you check that real quick for me?
I sure can.
There you go. I think.
All right. In the meantime, Facebook, Daniel Destruy is chiming in. He says, love the info always provided. I'm across the street breaking my shop EV trucks for R&D, of course. Well, thank you for joining us, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. So another headline that we have here is that Tesla now holds a 4.2% share of the U.S. auto market. I mean, it's not a large percentage. It's single digit. But remember, Tesla, 8, 10, 12 years ago was a nobody.
I thought it was maybe more than that. Now with the Model Y being the best-selling car.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of lookup. That, mm-hmm. Like you said, Pete, numbers intrigue me. Mm-hmm. So I had to do a little bit of looking. I went to Mark Lines. I found an article from a place called Mark Lines, and they have automotive sales volume for 2023 by month and year to date. And they the cool thing about this little statistical article, and it's out on the Facebook, on the Gruber Motor Company Facebook page for anyone who wants to look it up. It shows all automakers, all the big automakers, shows the percentage of market share that they have. And there's a little one here that says sales of new vehicles by type that I thought was interesting. Passenger cars versus light trucks, which is pickup trucks and SUVs. Mm-hmm. In 2023, in the United States, January through December, 12,379,000 pickup trucks and SUVs were sold. 3,220,000 cars were sold.
Wow. I did not know that ratio was that high.
I didn't either. So that means roughly 20% of the overall automotive market is cars. Mm-hmm. Now, the Model Y is going to be in the SUV side of that market. Mm-hmm. But you wonder why Lucid struggles. They sell cars.
Right.
You wonder why Lucid wants to go to the Gravity SUV. Now we know. Mm-hmm. They want to go to that 80%. But here's our leader in General Motors, 16.5%. Most of their sales is pickup trucks. Toyota, 14.4%. Most of their sales is pickup trucks. Ford, Stellantis, which is your Dodge Ram. Honda at 8.4% is even they have their own pickup truck that they sell quite a bit of. And Nissan, the same thing. You have to get all the way down to Hyundai, Kia, and Tesla to get to places that have just the SUV style and not a pickup truck as well. Mm-hmm. And Hyundai, which is number 6 on the list, is at 5.6%. Kia is at 5%, and Tesla's at 4.2%.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, and I'm not remembering these numbers. I'm actually looking them up.
We have data to support those statements, and it's interesting to watch Tesla's market share continue to just increase. Those graphs are very impressive.
Yeah, seeing Tesla up here near the top 10 is just so impressive.
And as YouTube, R.C. Robinson-San points out, he says, Tesla Model Y, best-selling car in the world for 2023. Upvoted.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, too. I'm looking up the news here, and I know that December is not reported yet, but all the way up through the end of November 2023, the Tesla Model Y is the best-selling vehicle in the world. Not just SUV, but it's the best-selling car in the world.
Amazing.
That is truly amazing. What kind of numbers, Jesse, did you look up as far as their sales?
It says it's up 3 spots with 1.06 million units sold through November 2023.
Wow.
So this is from Focus to Move. It's a world ranking report. So I try and see if I can get additional stuff, but it's up 57.1% versus last year, I think. Let me double check though.
That might be across all vehicle types too, because typically Ford likes to say they're the best-selling pickup truck in the world, and for each of their models, they count the models individually, and the Model Y is one model, and Ford has been around 760,000 pickups sold, and that's the best-selling model of pickup truck in the world. Mm-hmm. So that's 250,000 less than the Model Y.
Yeah.
It says, looking at the cumulative data up to November 2023, the best-selling car in the world becomes the Tesla Model Y, up 3 spots, 1.06 million units. At second place, you have now the Toyota Corolla, which was number 1, moved to second place with 1.01 million.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's incredible.
So here's an interesting item. Tesla is removing creep and roll stopping modes from the Model 3 and Y. And the way they're doing this is through over-the-air updates. It's just amazing in the span of a couple decades how these recalls can be handled with an over-the-air update. Nobody has to drive to a service center, schedule themselves in, have anybody with tools go into the car to change, tweak, adjust. This stuff is now done with computers over the air.
Now, is this an actual recall that's been mandated to Tesla, or is this something they're doing voluntarily?
It doesn't sound like a recall, and it sounds like it's a voluntary, but it's an effort to get compliant with this EPA mandate regarding accuracy and range.
Okay.
And the Model S's and the X's apparently are not able to get this over-the-air update, but the 3 and the Y are. And they say that these 2 stopping modes will be removed with an over-the-air update, and the X and S, do not have the option to select different shopping modes. Now, remember, this is a holdover from the old ICE vehicle days when you had a transmission in your car, and when you sat with your foot on the brake and you let off the brake, there was enough engine torque to propel the car forward slightly. So you had this creep mode.
Yeah.
And with EVs, it wasn't necessary. You had no transmission. And people weren't used to one-pedal driving yet. They were used to definitely using brake and accelerator. And so anyway, the next generation of drivers is not going to need creep mode. They're not used to it. Yeah. They're going to learn to do one-pedal driving.
It takes some getting used to for the one-pedal driving. For Tesla, I still remember getting my first EV, a Kia Soul 15. We got it from Gruber Motors, actually. And as I went to take my foot off the accelerator and press the brake pedal to slow down, I was immediately slowing down. And after taking the family out for a short drive, my son-in-law and my daughter both said in the back, they said, man, if this is what EVs are like, I don't think I can do this because I'm getting car sick with all the back and forth and stuff. So we got better at it. Now I can't imagine life without the one pedal driving.
Yeah. What they say in this particular article is currently the 3 settings are creep, roll, and hold. And according to Tesla, in creep mode, the motor continues to apply torque, moving the car slowly forward, in drive, or backwards, in reverse. Similar to a conventional vehicle with an automatic transmission, they say. Roll mode is self-explanatory. When close to or at a complete stop, the car becomes free rolling like a vehicle in neutral. And hold, on the other hand, continues to provide regen braking at speeds lower than the creep and roll settings, allowing the car to come to a complete stop without pressing the brake pedal.
So the roll mode is very similar to what I would be used to. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit lighter, and the hold mode is what I'm used to now. It's right. And Tesla's doing this, but many other EV makers already don't have anything other than a hold mode. And they actually kind of tout. We've got our Volvo. They tout the one pedal driving. They say it's a great thing.
Yeah. TikTok, Mad Max says, when is Tesla coming to South Africa? You know, what we hear, of course, is the same thing that's in the news constantly. Where is Elon talking to a prime minister somewhere, or a president of a company, or country, I should say? And we've heard India, of course, Mexico now. We've got a plant going up there. But I've heard nothing about South Africa or Africa in general, which is surprising because that's where Elon's from, right?
Yeah.
So you would think that there would be some link or some tie. I'm sure that the bean counters are involved, and they're saying, there's not enough business there. We need return on investment. We need a market to emerge before we're going to commit to building a gigafactory in an area.
Right. And that, I don't know if that means that they have any kind of infrastructure or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. YouTube Highlander, he says, the local BP gas station, which has a refinery next door, is about to put in EV superchargers. It's located in Oregon, Ohio, on Route 2. Kindness is always free, Highlander. You're right, and thank you for chiming in.
You know, the build-out of infrastructure, it's going to continue. Mm-hmm. We're down to the beginning of 2024. The Inflation Reduction Act of 2023 had promised 500,000 chargers by 2030. As far as I know, none have been built yet, but I think they're going to start getting built this year. That means all this infrastructure that's going in now is on top of the 500,000 chargers that the federal government's paying for.
Sure. Guys, we have an image that we can throw up there. It's called BYD-2. And
real quick, I have this image I'm pulling up for you.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of BYD, there's a company to watch.
Oh my gosh, yes.
In relation to Highlanders, what about fossil fuels installing chargers? Circle K is now also installing chargers. So they have they're starting to make these active at their gas stations. So we'll see. We're already starting to see the transition to where, who knows, in the next few years they may no longer have gas pumps.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I can't wait for? I was just telling my wife about this weekend, and these chargers remind me of it. So I've got a Tesla Model S. It's a salvage title car. We know the story here. The short story is we bought a water-damaged car, and it had 600 miles on it, and the water had damaged. The water had evaporated, so we drove it off the trailer, and all we had to do was a couple hours of cleanup, and the car is good. Since it's a salvage title car, it will not charge on Tesla's supercharger network. Tesla will not recognize it. I can't put the car in a Tesla app. I can't buy supercharging or anything like that. I can't wait until later this year when the Tesla-style NACS charger starts appearing on non-Tesla level 3 charging networks.
A good point, yeah.
Because then I'll be able to start taking my car out and doing the equivalent of a supercharge on a Electrify America or something like that. Or if my wife and I want to take a vacation trip outside of the Phoenix area, we'll be able to do that without having to worry about Oh, wow, we're going to have to sit for 6 hours and charge the car.
Or a nominal charge, and definitely less than an ICE vehicle, gas station fill-up. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Hey, what you mentioned you wanted BYD, as you said?
Yeah, BYD -2. And I'm just, first of all, BYD is in the news. We've got a video being released here within the next few days on the chairman of BYD, a gentleman named Wang Chuanfu, who's from Anhui, China, and it's a remarkable success story. I won't give away too much because the video will release everything, but interesting gentleman and a meteoric rise to success.
Yeah.
Within the same framework of a Tesla rise to success. Started off as a battery manufacturer and went into electric cars, and what did they deliver, like 3 million cars already?
Yeah, in 2023 alone, they beat Tesla by delivering 3 million cars, and Tesla had not delivered that many in 2023.
But the reason for bringing up this image, if you look at the title on this, and of course they're doing promotion and they're doing sales and they're doing advertising, something Tesla doesn't do. But my advice to the foreign companies is get yourself an American ad company.
Yeah.
The ones that are using these foreign they never make any sense. It's kind of like what we talk about in AI. There's a term called uncanny valley. And when you look at a face generated by AI, it doesn't look quite right and you can't quite put your finger on it. Well, listen to this slogan here. Harmony on wheels, rhythm on rides. It just, there's something lacking, something that is left to be desired there. Anyway, Madison Avenue has lots of companies that are more than willing to do your ads for you in the United States and make them quite powerful and relevant.
Heck, I could do a better job with a slogan than that.
Yeah, you probably could, Richard.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
It's and I know that there's so much about BYD that scares people, that excites people, that BYD is they're publicly selling the Seagull now.
Yeah.
It's an $11,000 car. It uses sodium ion for their battery technology, so it doesn't use lithium. And there's so much hand-wringing going on here in the United States about China is going to undercut everybody and take over the automotive world. I'll get more into this as we get onto some of our other articles, but I say bring it on. Let's get it in there.
They're the ones that are actually bringing in the sub $30,000 EVs.
Yeah,
and the whole world is waiting for that. We all knew that the tipping point, the transition from ICE to EV was once we reach the point where it's cheaper to buy an EV than it is an ICE vehicle. And that's not even counting in the reduced labor or the reduced maintenance costs and all that.
Exactly. I mean, what's going to happen when you have an EV that doesn't use lithium, so the environmentalists can't get after it, that even after a 25% tariff in the United States would cost less than $15,000 brand new, and it's 150 miles of range, which is equivalent to like the Nissan Leafs of the world.
Yeah,
it's a good, solid commuter car, city car, and under $15,000. Bring them in. Let's get them. Fine, pay the tariffs, whatever. Let's get them in. I think that politically, though, it's going to be a hard sell.
Yeah. Well, so my first initial message was for those of you, the foreign companies that want to make a splash in the U.S., get yourself some U.S. companies that, help you with a company name. Like Happy-Go-Lucky Manufacturing is not going to resonate here in the U.S.
Right.
It's obviously contrived trying to build a certain type of image, and it doesn't work. And then this particular slogan, Harmony on Wheels, Rhythm on Rides, well, we can do much better than that.
Yeah.
And Richard even said he can do better than that.
I'm sure that Richard can, and I'm also
he's available for a contract fee.
That's right.
I'm also sure that AI could probably make a better image of a car and a piano like that.
Yep. YouTube, Hinda Finga says, just watched a rod trip on YouTube in South Africa. Power shedding daily everywhere. Charging stations scarce.
There's no infrastructure,
There was an earlier comment as well, or question: when are EVs coming to Africa? And we're surprised that Elon hasn't focused at least something on Africa, since that's where he's from.
I'm a little surprised too, because South Africa is one of the most affluent places on the African continent as well, and so I don't know why there's very little infrastructure.
YouTube, Phoenix, the Electric Association, EAA. I know the acronym. I just can't get my head around it. It's probably John Martinson. Welcome, guys, for joining us here. They're saying that COSTCO is also adding DCFC. They've had the first EV paddle chargers, but had removed them and had no charging for years. Well, Costco's a great place.
Oh, I can't wait.
When I was driving ICE cars, that was our favorite place to gas up because it was the least expensive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Costco and Sam's Club, they are the two places where you go.
Yeah.
It fuels.
I think Aaron still goes there.
Yeah, I go to Sam's Club for my diesel right now. But every time I go into Sam's Club or Costco, I mean, I'm not out of there. I spend probably at least 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's probably the quickest I get out of one of those places. So charging an EV in there is perfect.
As embarrassing as it is for us to say, one of our social media members does drive an ICE vehicle, or maybe two of them, but they're reconsidering daily as we do these podcasts.
You know what? My wife saw a Ford Lightning this last weekend at a Costco parking lot. And I said, "Look, honey, look at that. Look at that." She's like, "Wow. Oh my gosh, that's nice." We need to trade in our old 1996 Chevy on one of these. Let's do this. And so I'm getting her back on board slowly but surely. We'll bring that and then show Aaron, and he'll trade his diesel maybe.
YouTube Highlander says, we have a lot of Circle K's in the Midwest, so I'll keep my eye on that. Thank you, Jesse.
And then YouTube, Robert Christensen says, my favorite mode is a Siemens patented free rolling until you touch the brake pedal. That sets the vehicle into 50% regen, and then holding the brake pedal gives 100% regen. Also, you can roll down the hill to start regen.
Interesting, yeah. So some variations of that. No, that's a Siemens invention, it sounds like. YouTube, Seth Love says, morning, fellas. Thanks for joining us. And Phoenix EAA, Phoenix Electric Auto Association. It's Jim Stack. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying.
Okay.
Usually when there's an A in an acronym it has Arizona in it as well.
RC Robinson San is joining us on YouTube today. Welcome back. It says, I like to drive real slow by the Costco gas lines that are 10 deep in my Model 3.
I've done that too, by the way.
I have too. As we're driving into the Costco, I'll sometimes go in by the exit to the gas station just to drive by.
And have you noticed if you do it too slow, they'll flip you off?
Yes.
It's pretty obvious at that point. Niels is joining us. He says, too many reports of bad quality of Chinese EVs, even BYDs, and they exaggerate performance. If the Chinese want to avoid the 25.7% Trump tariff, just build a factory in Mexico within NAFTA.
That is exactly what has people scared out of their minds right now.
Yeah.
And it's not just BYD. It's NIO. It's
Candy.
Candy.
Right.
I'm trying to think of the others. NIO, Candy, BYD, and a few others are all talking about doing exactly that, opening up dealerships in Mexico first. BYD has already got that. From there, opening up a factory in Mexico, ostensibly to sell to the Hispanics, to the Mexican population, but then being able to take that factory
across
and
the border.
Start selling across the border. And there's nothing the U.S. can do about it.
Right. Except get a new administration that gets rid of the Trump tariff.
Yeah. Instagram, Sean433 Ahmed says, hi. Well, welcome.
Welcome. All right, so one of the other things that made the headlines this week was an allegation that Elon Musk is doing drugs. This is from the Wall Street Journal, of all places.
Yeah.
Used to be a respectable, tabloid. And, but anyway, what we ended up doing was a lot of people are chiming in on this, and we've got a video that's going to be released today, guys, or tomorrow?
Hopefully today, we'll see though. Yeah.
And it takes the various, data that was assembled, and it's looking like a smear job. And what we're doing is chiming in on that, trying to put some humor into it as well. But, it all started with Elon, and it wasn't the greatest, his greatest moment in terms of judgment. On Joe Rogan, okay, Joe's drinking whiskey and he's smoking a cigar and he pulled out a reefer and started smoking some dope. Well, as CEO of a couple of really large companies, is it a good idea to share that with him? Probably not.
Right.
And that basically started things. Now the rumors are circulating. And the Wall Street Journal, I think you've got some inputs there.
I did. I went ahead and read that article. I found it online and found the link to it and read through it. And there's I'm telling you, it's meant to sell copies of the Wall Street Journal more than anything else. Lots of allegations, very short on really hard and fast facts. They talk a little bit about, Elon and his brother will both take ketamine, which is an anesthetic drug, but like there are a number of drugs on the market today that have what are called off-label uses. Ketamine is a drug that has an off-label use. At low doses, it's supposed to help fight depression. So now there's rumors that Elon will go to parties and take hits of ketamine that are off the street, that are illegal, and it apparently gives you some sort of a high. And then it goes into rumors about magic mushrooms and LSD and on and people that conveniently want to remain anonymous talk about their suspicions, and it kind of concludes of, it's that where there's smoke there must be fire type of loose logical conclusion, but it's a bunch of hearsay meant to sell copies of the Wall Street Journal, in my opinion.
Yeah. And, the final upshot here is, of course, Elon has an attorney, and he was chiming in and saying, because of the federal contracts we have, drug testing is a standard routine process. And Elon, for years, has been passing all of his drug tests. And that was my first reaction when I saw that big blunt on Joe Rogan's show. I thought, my God, you've got federal contracts. This is not a good idea.
Yeah, exactly.
But so it is definitely a distracting, shiny object that is floating around right now. And if you're interested, take a look at our video once it pops up on YouTube. We've got a humorous twist that resets some perspectives, in my opinion.
Well, have you seen, as you read through the news stories and stuff, even the titles? Some famous figure has done some unsavory thing. It can be Elon Musk taking drugs. It could be Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson having an affair. It could be, and who knows? I'm pulling stuff at random. I mean, you could literally pull a famous name out of a hat, pull some sort of unsavory behavior out of a hat, put them together, and boom, you have a title. I'm sure you could find people that'll talk about it, and it'll sell copies.
Oh, totally. Warren Buffett, DUI, those two words would definitely attract a lot of attention.
Exactly. So I just don't give a lot of credence to the article.
Yeah. So anyway, that was another thing that is distracting at this point in time. And you mentioned earlier, BYD breaks ground on the first sodium-ion EV battery plant.
Yes.
Do we have details on that?
I don't have a lot of details on it. I do know that it is the sodium-ion batteries is what they use in their Seagull cars.
Right.
The Seagull is about 140 to 150 mile range, small commuter-style car. Think of something slightly larger than a smart car, maybe like a little Fiat 500. It's about that size. And it sells for the incredibly low price in China of $11,000. It's proving to be very popular, so BYD is moving forward and making a plan for that.
Some of the stats here are, it looks like BYD is investing $1.4 billion in this plant with 30 gigawatt hour planned annual capacity. And of course, sodium is salt. So
Right.
it looks like it's going to be a less expensive battery because salt's pretty plentiful when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, sodium is it's up there with carbon as one of the most plentiful elements on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
have you heard of the CES show that's
Yes.
happening right now in Vegas?
Mhm.
I think they're talking about some of that technology. Have you heard any updates from that show, or have they released anything from it yet?
The only update that I have is that, and it's still being staged. I don't think it's live yet, but the exhibitors are setting up. So there's a lot of reporting on what kind of things are starting to get set up. Tomorrow at the AI podcast, I was going to talk about how there is a lot of AI now moving into technology, and a lot of this will be at CES, unprecedented levels, actually.
Oh yeah.
They're talking about, for example, belts that have AI in them, and it somehow is able to either guide people that have physical disabilities like blindness or paraplegics. But I'm pretty excited about watching to see how AI merging with electronics is going to revolutionize and create augmentations.
My first thought on what you said with the when you mentioned the AI and the belt, Pete, was something chiming every time I was about to eat, McDonald's burger, or
Right. That is a great idea.
a voice coming out saying, "Hey, Richard, are you sure you want to do this? You said something about losing some weight the other day. Are you sure this is what you want to do?"
Go ahead, Cass.
Sorry, you're gonna end up Pavloving yourself at a certain point.
Pavlov's dogs.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, does it have to be
Exactly.
a chime, or I mean, it could be the equivalent of a shot collar too.
Either or, it'll still end up being a Pavlov.
Rough.
Conditioning, exactly.
There we go.
And positive conditioning.
Let me
Yes.
throw this video up for you guys
Sure.
right now from CES. This is one of the, I'm not sure who it is, one of the guys from Sony driving the Afeela car with a Sony PlayStation controller.
Really?
He's got the PlayStation video game controller in his hands right now, and he's bringing out the Afeela car that we talked about in a video maybe, 6 months or a year ago now.
We were making fun of the name.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I remember that.
Yes, I remember that. Wow, that's pretty wild.
And this is a PlayStation controller.
This terrifies me. I'm like mortified right now.
Something every kid is extremely familiar with.
Is this the same controller that was controlling that that submarine that was down in the ocean?
True. Yeah. Yeah, the Titanic submarine that imploded.
Oh my
It
gosh.
was a different type of controller, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a cheap version.
I
basically.
feel like the risks involved with using a controller here versus there are going to be a little different.
Mm.
So it looks like YouTube. The John Kick is chiming in. He says, I see so many Musk/Tesla hit pieces on a daily basis. They are losing their effectiveness. Saturation level.
Yeah, good point.
Too much
Very
fake
good
news.
point.
You got it.
On YouTube, Highlander says, Meyer Grocery in the Midwest is a major player, and they have a charger deal with Tesla. I can provide pictures. Please do, Highlander. We'd love to see those.
Yeah, we'll post those. You can. I can only imagine that businesses are reaching out to Tesla, and anxious to get that kind of infrastructure at their locations because it's going to attract customers.
Well, you remember BP with all their gas stations, and they've bought Tesla superchargers now, and they're branding them as BP superchargers.
Right.
So Niels on YouTube also has another comment where he says the EU Commission has started an investigation of the Chinese EV subsidies. If confirmed, the EU will raise China EV tariffs from the 9% of today.
Oh, really? Okay.
That'll be interesting. Again, though, I would say, okay, if you have a car that's $11,000 in China, I'm looking at the stateside tariffs. 25.7% comes up to somewhere around $14,700 to $14,800. And I did the math before here, so
Okay. So you're not doing that off the top
not
of your
doing it
head.
off the top of my head. A $15,000 brand new car here in the United States is going to be a huge seller And that even takes into account tariffs. So
that's a game changer.
It's an absolute game changer. It's
even if it's a 2-seater, even if it's just a commute car,
Yeah.
For $15K.
Yeah, a 15K EV, there are going to be a lot of people that would want to buy in on something like that.
Mm-hmm. Instagram, Solar Stone. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. TikTok, Cyber Beast. Got my VIN for Cybertruck. Another 30 days to get delivered. Wow. You're going to have to show us pictures of that when you get
Please send us pictures, yes.
Jiminy Stacks chiming in here locally from Facebook. He says, world's first sodium-ion solar generators are to debut at CES 2022. And it may kickstart a move away from lithium. With the world turning electric vehicles and other battery-powered machines, a strong supply and demand gap is expected with lithium in the coming years. A new solar generator using sodium-ion batteries might just be the solution we need.
I love that take, Jiminy. And there's going to be a lot of what I would call pendulum swings with supply and demand. On one hand, you've got demand is up fourfold over the last 3 years for lithium, and it's growing exponentially. On the other hand, you've got all this supply that's getting discovered. You've got 300 million tons or something like that of lithium under the Salton Sea, and 40 million tons of higher grade lithium ore in Nevada, and other lithium discoveries occurring throughout the world. But there's a 5 to 10 year ramp up from the day you say we want to do this until you're actually producing lithium. Yeah. And the demand continues to go up during that time. Sodium is going to be sodium ion or other technologies like that. You think your graphene solid state batteries and stuff like that.
And the frightening thing for a manufacturer is with technology changing this rapidly, improving, changing, the amount of infrastructure needed to develop these newer products, it can pass you by. And then you're stuck with, with a technology and production capacity that is no longer in vogue. Something better, faster has come along. So I feel for these manufacturing companies. There's a definite high risk involved there.
Definitely.
YouTube Highlander, will the sodium ion be used in the Dolphin?
It might be. The Dolphin is a brand of EV, and I'd have to look up to be sure, but I think it is actually.
Ramon from YouTube, Ramon Hurt says, so much for free market. Well, that's that balance between, protecting the infrastructure within a particular country from not unfair competition, but highly effective competition.
Yes.
Versus, letting the population buy what makes sense for them.
Absolutely. Highlander, a couple of comments. He says, yes, Team Cass is on.
Cass is getting some love over there.
Hello.
And then he says, is it sunglass commercial time, gang?
Actually, there is something else that we can insert at this point. And Richard, one of our social media team members, is actually, this is his last week. He's going on to different, better things, he feels. And I want him to come up here and have some closure with our effort and team. He's been instrumental in helping us build this. He's going to miss us. I know he's going to miss us.
Oh, and I think I know we're going to miss him. Richard was the first co-host with you. I was thinking about that this morning.
That's right. Yes.
Even before Zane, Richard was here.
Okay. Yeah. Out of your way here.
Yeah, that's a blast from the past. I haven't been over here since you and I did the podcast.
Yeah.
But then before, we were sitting here doing the podcast we did a few episodes, right, Jesse? I don't remember how many.
What we did, like 6 episodes, I think. Pete was out for 2.5 weeks. It was from like a Monday to a Friday or something.
Yeah, that was back when we were doing 2 episodes a week too,
Yeah.
And as always, we had fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Richard, what are you going to do? And tell us about this new position.
Sure. So I'm going over to a drug and alcohol addiction treatment center. I'm going to be running their social media marketing, doing roughly the same thing that we're doing here, doing YouTube videos, shorts. They want to run a podcast. Going to be doing basically that. I will be the Jesse minus the web development stuff, essentially. Just kind of, I will be their one-man shop. for everything.
Now, if you get the interview with Elon first, because we're talking,
Yeah.
you have to give us a slice.
No, fair enough. I'll just kind of sneak in there. Gruber Marketing Company.
That'd be a low blow, Elon.
Yeah, it would. I did see that Elon posted on Twitter, Twitter, to thine own self be true, which is, now I don't know their origins from that, but it is on all of the recovery coins, the chips you get for, newcomer 30-day, 60-day, and all that good stuff, which has been around, since the 30s. So I don't know if he's hinting at something like that, but I don't know. We'll see. If I get an interview with him that way, that will definitely be that's the last thing I expect to happen. So, so we'll see. But I wanted to say to the audience, thank you guys for an absolutely wonderful time. I have had nothing but good times and good interactions with everybody that's watching right now. George Highlander, Jimmy Stack, Nolver, Niels, yeah, and all of the people that I did not name. Everybody, you guys made this podcast really enjoyable.
Yes,
Crunch.
well,
Yeah.
and here you go.
Commercial.
You guys actually get to see me for this one. So now, while I think since it's my last podcast, I'm allowed to take sunglasses off.
Oh, sure,
right?
sure.
And now that I've taken them off, I need somewhere to put them.
By the way, I just wanted to say something quickly here. Watching you on that tube there, we've got a monitor here. We have another group that comes in and does a Monday podcast. It's his father. And I'm telling you, without those sunglasses, the resemblance is amazing, isn't it? That's
yes,
his father's son right there. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
What can I say? But without the sunglasses on, I gotta have somewhere to put them. These are the Gruber Motor Company custom leather sunglass cases, and you can get them for $79.99. Except for now, if you use code Aaron, I don't know if Jesse, am I going to be getting royalties if people use my code?
Probably not. So we'll make a code for Cass at this
Ooh,
point.
I get my own code now.
What's this saying? The body's not even cold, and you guys are swooping in. No, but it's available on the website. 10% off if you use code Cass or Aaron, I guess now.
Yes, sir, Aaron, yeah. Well, Richard, we wish you the best. Thank you for everything. And he's going to be local, so, we'll probably have him as a guest from time to time or something. But
yes.
Sure, stay connected.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and then if you guys want to go through some of these questions, we got about 2 or 3 minutes left.
Okay. Highlander, will the sodium ion be used? We did that already.
Dolphin, Team Cass is on.
Right.
Commercial sunglass time. So let's go down to John Sweet. It says Sprouts locally is getting a supercharger on Miller Road in Scottsdale and also on Signal Butte and Southern in Mesa.
Oh, okay.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
It's, and my wife spends time there too, so I'll tell her about that. Niels is chiming in from Denmark. He says the cheap Chinese cars probably won't pass the safety checks of Western countries.
That's a legit question. I don't know. John Sweet says, I wish COSTCO would get superchargers, and he's on YouTube.
I'll bet they're considering it. I'll bet they're listening, and there's probably something in the plans. Yeah.
Yep, I think so. We've got 1 or 2 more comments. Mm-hmm. I want to encourage everybody, give us some feedback about what you thought of today as well. We've been a lot more loose with today. I've had a lot of fun. I think it's gone really well, but it's up to you guys out there to tell us, because you're the ones that we're doing this for.
Real quick, I have one more thing I want to show you guys too, just to get your reaction from CES. What do you think? How plausible is this right here? The heading for this video is "What could possibly go wrong?"
Oh man!
Yeah, that looks like Scotty on the in the seat there. But man,
can you imagine
having
a backpack and dropping your backpack or dropping your jacket?
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
And that's like a big drone?
That's what it looks like, yeah. Big blades, not a lot of protection there.
Yeah, if you drop something off that and you just instinctually went to grab it and lost grip, that's game over right there.
Foot placement is very critical on this thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, they must be proud of it because they spent a whole lot of money to get it to CES and that display booth, and so there must be something behind that.
I would have liked to see that guy try to hover, honestly.
Yeah. In wrapping this up a bit here, we are posting a number of different videos now, and some of the ones that I wanted to introduce to you is we've got a Who Is video series now that is starting. And the strategy there is you might want to know who Jim Farley is with Ford. What's his background? But you don't want to watch a 45-minute, hour-and-a-half video to find that out. Quick 3-minute to 5-minute bios. Mary Barra, Elon Musk, Martin Eberhard, any of these people in the EV space. We're going to be working J.D. Scaringe, for example, with Rivian. Most people don't know much about him. Wang Chuanfu with BYD.
Right.
Those are going to start populating out there on our YouTube channel. The second one is bios on the companies, and those are called Spotlight On series videos. And again, same thing. Quick snippets, brief, nothing, the things that appeal to the short attention span type, generation. But anyway, stay tuned for those. And then finally, we've got an opinion piece. And that the first one that's going to get launched within the next day or two is the one about Elon Musk and these alleged drug violations. So if you like them, let us know. If you want us to change them, let us know. If you want them longer, shorter, whatever it is. We're putting those out there for our audience, for our subscribers.
Definitely. Well, we will see you guys in about 5 minutes or so on the Roadster Podcast.
Thanks for joining us.